All right, so thought for the day. I don't know what you want to call it, but something I've been mulling over. And I guess to give you some background first, I always kind of felt like I was looking for perfection in what was going on around me. There's things you can't change. There's your situation, as I like to call it. And that's other people, the places, things that are happening to you, whatever. They're called your situation. You can't change your situation. If you're trying to change people, especially, you're really wasting a lot of energy. Energy you could be using to pursue enlightenment or healing or just be more successful at your job or connect to people in your life. There's a lot of better places to put energy than into changing someone else. So if I'm not trying to change anyone else, then I don't need to pursue anything. I think it's beneficial to look for the perfection in the things around you. If you can't change something, then you don't want to just sort of toss it aside and say, well, that's messed up, but I can't change it, so that's that. I think what you really need to do is take some time and look for the perfection in that item. So how do you know what's worth spending your time trying to find the perfection in it? The things that bother you would be the ones that would pull up first. So if something's bothering you and something's just not right as far as you're concerned, or there's a better way to handle it, or those types of things, then I say sit with it and look for appreciation. And from appreciation, you might get to some level of acceptance at least. And ultimately, I found the most helpful was to get to that point where I really felt that it was perfect the way things went, or the way things are going, or the way the other person's handling things. And I think a lot of that comes from finding some perfection in your own life, and acceptance and appreciation, and not only of the things around me, but the things that I've done in my life, the things that I'm not happy about, mistakes I've made, times I've hurt other people, whatever. That's all my situation. It's not something I can control. So it's history. And if I'm going to look for something to be, wasting a lot of energy on, that's definitely not it. So I want to accept it at the same time, though. It's not enough just to say I'm not going to spend a lot of energy paying attention to my things about my past that I don't like. That's definitely going to be floating in your subconscious till you die. So you might as well dig at it. If you're thinking about it, if it comes to mind, you might as well sit with it. And if you're going to sit with it, you're going to hold it. If you're going to hold it, then you might as well accept it. If you're going to accept it and appreciate it, it'll give you energy. That energy then will lead you to seeing the perfection and seeing that that's the way it needed to be. Maybe for another soul, maybe for me, maybe for the world as a whole, maybe for me just to be able to experience sitting with something now and saying, hey, that was tough, and I really messed it up and I really hurt someone, but now I'm going to sit with it, and I'm going to say that feels terrible, and I'm going to accept it. And just sitting with it will force you to accept it, because sitting with it is accepting. You can't sit with it and have struggle and accept it at the same time. So acceptance may be the first place to go. Just accept it and sit with it, and don't try to push it away, and don't try to bury it. I found I buried a lot of that kind of stuff with just being busy. Busyness is a good way to keep your mind off of things, situations around you that you don't like, people that you don't like, your past that you don't like. But that doesn't mean they're not pulling at your bandwidth. And a fun little way to find out if you have stuff like that floating in the back of your mind that's sort of stressing you, and you're not even aware of it because you're always so busy, which has always been my thing, is pay attention to your dreams. When you wake up in the morning, was your dream sort of about a somewhat stressful situation, like, oh, I really pulled that off barely, or that seemed kind of reckless, or that seemed kind of scary, or that seemed kind of whatever that emotion is, that's what your subconscious is dealing with. So it doesn't matter the particulars in the dream necessarily. You're not looking for a vision like, oh, I'm not supposed to talk to a certain person because in my dream I had a very stressful relationship or situation happen. I have dreams about, driving cars recklessly, and that would be a stressor. And so that means my brain's dealing with a lot of stress. I haven't been driving cars recklessly in a long time. I wouldn't say I haven't driven recklessly, that's for sure. But that's not my issue. It's just that that's sort of my example of a little out of control, a little bit stressed, a little bit stuff floating in my subconscious that I'm not dealing with. But anyway, hopefully that's helpful. Maybe it's just confusing. Maybe it's makes you feel very uneasy. That's okay too. Anyway, love you guys. See ya.